What is good, YouTube, man? It's your boy Super Rich JL, and I am back with another video, guys. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Berkshire stock continues to slide as analyst cuts estimate, and there's a whole bunch of going on. So we just, we're gonna do our due diligence and then find out what's going on in the market for Berkshire. With all that being said, man, let's go ahead and get into the video. And right now, as you can see, I will always show my chart, my brokerage account, and I'm gonna just let you guys see what the market was and how everything looks on your Think or Swim account. If you would like to download the Think or Swim, it is $0. It doesn't cost anything. Shout out to Christopher Jackson. Follow him, or I seen it on Facebook, and I went to his webinar, and I led myself into this situation where I said I wanted to talk about finance, the stock market, and here we are. So without further ado, let's get into the article. All right, this is by Andrew Berry. All right, Berkshire Hathaway stock continued a slide that followed the annual meeting a month ago. As the only Wall Street analyst who remains a fan of the shares offered a less upbeat forecast, Berkshire's Class A stock fell 1.1% to 746,200 Tuesday, and the Class B shares were down 1% at 497.83. Those are the lowest closing levels since early April. Berkshire shares are down about 8% since the annual meeting on May 3rd, when CEO Warren Buffett supervised investors with news that he will step aside as CEO at year end while remaining chairman. The so-called Buffett premium has been leaking out of stock since then. Wow. Now let's keep reading. I was going to say something, but I want to stay focused. The A shares peaked at 809,350 on May 2nd, the day before the annual meeting. So it dropped a lot. Wow. Berkshire's stock performance has been near the bottom of the S&P 500 index over the past month, while shares outperformed the index by a wide margin in the first 4 months of the year. UBS analyst Brian Meredith cut his 2025 earnings estimate by 6% to $19.92 per Class B share, mainly because he sees lower investment income. He anticipates lower dividend income, likely reflecting a smaller equity portfolio given the bank's sales of Apple and Bank of America stock. At the same time, yields on cash are likely to fall because the Federal Reserve is expected to cut short-term rates this year. Meredith also foresees no share buybacks this year or in 2026 by Berkshire, because the shares are trading above his estimate of intrinsic value. Berkshire didn't buy back any stock from May 2024 through the late April, based on disclosures in the first quarter 10Q report released in early May. Buffett hasn't viewed the stock as sufficiently cheap relative to his estimate of intrinsic value for the company to buy it. Meredith, who has been the lone Wall Street bull among the few analysts covering the stock, cut his price target to 591. Class B share from 606. There is a fly that really is about to get swatted. I ain't even gonna lie. I am going to get you. If you keep flying in my eye, I'm going to get you. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to stay focused. He maintained a buy rating. We continue to believe that BRK's shares are attractive in an uncertain macro environment with $347 billion of cash and short-term investments, a defensive business mix, and a manageable tariff exposure, Meredith wrote in a client note. He sees Berkshire's auto insurance unit gaining market share this year. After losing it over the past few years, Geico is number 3 insurer behind State Farm and Progressive, which has overtaken Geico, however you want to say it, in recent years. Before the slide of the past month, Berkshire was trading at a high base on valuation at about 1.8 times book value. It is now getting closer to 1.6 times, near its average of 1.5 times in recent years. The stock trades for about 25 times projected 2025 earnings, a premium to the S&P 500. The so-called look price earnings ratio is lower because that gives Berkshire credit for the earnings of the company and its equity portfolio. Berkshire stock had been more than 20% points ahead of the S&P 500 on May 2nd. The gap has narrowed to about 8 points. Investors may have been taking profits in the past month or reacting to Buffett's impending departure. Berkshire executive Greg Abel will take the top job in 2026. While he has widely praised Buffett, investors may be waiting to see how he approaches his role, or the role. Berkshire is sitting on nearly $350 billion of cash and investments and has found little to do with that growing pile. It continued to be a net seller stock in the first quarter of 2025 and has found no major acquisitions despite Buffett continued to hunt for what he calls an elephant-sized deal. Given the pullback in the stock, it will be interesting to see if Buffett is willing to buy it. Investors likely won't know until August, when Berkshire discloses its financial results for the second quarter. This was written by Andrew Berry. You can go follow him. I'm not going to give away his email, so I feel like that's not my job. All right. So as you can see, Berkshire has dropped because we all know Warren Buffett is stepping away at the end of the year. And it's like, I'm starting to understand that like the decisions you make can actually hurt your stock. And you see Elon Musk has he stepped away from Donald Trump because his stock was going down with Tesla, so, and his other businesses, you know what I mean? So, you know, the tariff is terrible, but I feel as if America, we are strong enough to build manufacturers, and we won't have to use China, but they trillions up, you know what I'm saying? They trillions up, you know. But I mean, yeah, I mean, Berkshire Class A stock fell 1.1% to $200,000 Tuesday, and Class B shares were down 1% at $497.83. Man, you know, it's the lowest since April. I mean, that's a lot, man. They were at 809,350 May 2nd, the day before the annual meeting, and now they are at 746,200. That is amazing. That is a drop, you know what I mean? You know, they're taking a big hit, man, because we all know that Warren Buffett is very powerful. We know who he is. We know what he stands for. We know his stock, and he's been preaching stock pretty much his whole life, you know what I'm saying? So to see the gap, I feel like it is going to take its time. Like they said, you know, they you know, right here, investors may have taken profits in the past month or reacting to Buffett's impending departure. Berkshire executive Greg Abel will take the top job in 2026. While he has widely praised by Buffett, investors may be waiting to see how he approaches the role. Like, you know, we're going to see, and I want you guys to keep an eye on the Berkshire stock, and I want you guys to keep an eye on Greg Abel to see what is going to happen. You know, losing Warren Buffett is going to be tough. That's just, that's tough. He got Berkshire is sitting nearly 350 billion of cash and investments, and has found little to do with that growing pile. It can continue to be a net seller of stocks in the first quarter of 2025 and has found no major acquisitions despite Buffett's continual hunt for what he calls an elephant-sized deal. So that's pretty much it, guys. You know what I mean? We're going to see how things are going to continue with Berkshire, and I want to see what other articles are going to say. But this is going to be very tough, man. It's going to be tough for Berkshire, but every stock or every company is going to drop. Every company is going to take a major hit. But it's about, oh my bad, dang, screen cut off. But it's honestly about, I just want to see what's going to happen at the end of the year. So let's keep an eye on it. I don't have nothing much else to say. Just going to be talking about Berkshire in this video, and I want you guys to be safe. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell a friend, man. This is important. Reading about information. This is very valuable to a lot of people. If you don't have goals, you definitely should be. You should have some type of knowledge and education of trying to learn or see what's going on. You know what I mean? There's many different, you can't see, but if you can see, there's a bunch of other articles that I can get into, but excuse me, we're not going to get into it because I have a deadline, and now it's time for me to put my kids to sleep. Hopefully you guys learned a thing or two. Let's keep our eye on Berkshire. Let's see what Warren Buffett is going to do. I feel like the next time, maybe he's drying the market out right now, and then he's going to come back with the boom later on. That's how I feel. Let me know how you guys feel in the comment section. Other than that, guys, we out.